Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Toonami Squad Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Sam, at Samster299, and I have today Phantom,
Hello.
Joshua,
Hey.
and Logan.
Yo.
And this is another episode. It'll most likely be a little short one today because not a lot of news, and we had a pretty stacked like couple of news for like the past couple months. But yeah, I feel like we're in the dry season right now. But let's go one step at a time. So I wanted to start this off by doing a little new segment that I like to call "What are we watching?" Essentially, we go around the room and we talk about any anime or whatever shows that we just happen to be catching our eye on. Thought it'd be a little interesting. Give our short form thoughts on it.
A little
yeah.
reminiscent of what we do at Toonami Squad Gaming Zone podcast, but I like it.
Yes. Anyway, so I think I'll go first. So
Okay.
lately, what have I been watching? Because what I've been doing lately is any show that I have not seen that the entire Toonami Squad group burns me for, I made a reaction DM and I will react to stuff that they want me to see there. And then the last thing that I reacted to, and I know Logan will love this, I recently saw Big O. Yeah, so I was like, on my list to, watch all the folk classics that I never saw back in the day. One of those, I decided to see Big O. Yeah, it surely wasn't because Logan had a gun to my head. That's for sure. I enjoy it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I can see why he wants a season 3 so badly. Why a lot of people want a season 3. Roger, I love Roger and Dorothy and Norman, all of them. I'm not the best at like giving detailed descriptions of my thoughts for shows, but yeah, that's how I feel. I've also been watching a lot of Hayao Miyazaki Studio Ghibli movies because I've never seen a Miyazaki film back then, and everyone was roasting me for it. So I started off with Howl's Moving Castle.
Classic.
I then moved towards My Neighbor Totoro. I then saw Lupin Castle Cagliostro, and the recent one that I saw was Spirited Away. And everyone hates me because I said a fact that no one else has thought of. Spirited Away is an isekai. Y'all ever think about it? They get transported to a different world. It's an isekai.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
I hate it, but you're right.
Exactly. So yeah, Spirited, the Miyazaki films. Soon, I am going to dive first into my first watch of Bleach. I have not seen Bleach whatsoever, and I know it is getting a new anime season later this year, so I want to be there when the time arrives. I mean, other than that, I've been watching a lot of some of the new shows lately. I love Spy Family, Protect Anya with All Your Life, and You're Though. That's all I got to say about that.
Ma'am.
Saw the new Demon Slayer season because that's never coming to Toonami. And soon I got to catch up on the One Piece simulcast because I know it's been going stupid hard lately. Anyway, that's everything I gotta say. So who wants to go next on this topic?
Yeah, that'll go. I've been watching a lot of stuff as of recent. I actually watched Shamu all in one go.
Ooh.
And finished The World Ends With You, the animation. A couple of game adaptations. Pretty good. Would like to review those someday. Besides that, just been on and off with Disney Plus, watching What If, Loki, after watching Multiverse of Madness. Which was a good movie, by the way. Sam Raimi is a good director.
It had Bruce Campbell. That's all anyone ever asked for.
Oh, yeah, of course. And don't have Sam Raimi direct another Spider-Man without Tobey Maguire, or he would snap his neck. But, what else? I think that's about it. Just kind of been on and off with anime, and just watching stuff on Hulu, Disney Plus, and then movies. Going to see Maverick in a couple weeks. Can't wait.
Sam too. I think you might have just opened Pandora's box. Phantom's going to try to turn this into a Disney thing now.
Next thing you know, we just go off on like 2.5 hours of Kingdom Hearts series.
And after you said that, I was choking on my water.
Plot twist: Sora is actually Cloud.
Good God.
I was trying to think.
Anybody else want to go next?
Yeah, so I'm always in kind of a weird spot because most of the stuff I'm watching now I can't talk about yet. So, but I did watch Mamoru Hosoda's latest movie, Belle. Toonami fans will remember he was the director of Summer Wars. Some moderate parallels with that. He's got this penchant for doing movies that take place in like the metaverse. Would be how we tend to refer to it now.
Zuckerberg intensifies.
It's basically it's sort of like a Beauty and the Beast musical set in the internet. It was a good movie. The streaming version's out now, and the Blu-ray drops in a few days from G-Kids. So I enjoyed it. The English dub's really good, and they actually dubbed all of the songs into English. And the actress they got for Belle, her match to the Japanese version is just insanely good. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Beyond that, about the only other thing I've been watching lately are the new Star Trek shows. As usual, it's Star Trek, so I'm addicted either way.
Captain Picard, anyone? I don't know. I don't know anything Star Trek.
The new show that's currently the only one that's airing since Star Trek Picard wrapped up last week is Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is set. It's Captain Pike is the lead star, so it's been pretty good so far. I mean, it's only 2 episodes in, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm enjoying it.
Make it so.
That's Picard.
All right.
I know. Shut up, Wesley.
There you go.
What about you, Joshua? Have you been watching anything?
I haven't been watching too much, but I did finish Picard today, and I started the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and that's about it.
No, I didn't know you were a Star Trek fan.
Yes, I am.
Ooh,
Good to know.
that is very good to know. I still don't know anything Star Trek. Sorry.
Has anybody else watched Halo?
No, but I heard Master Chief, got his Master Cheeks clap.
I tried to get into Halo, but I couldn't get into it. I might have to give it another try. I don't know.
I don't know. I bought that Master Chief collection. I only played like 1 hour of Hit Combat Evolved, so that's all you need to say about me. This isn't a gaming podcast. Anyway, yeah, I think that wraps up this segment nicely. So why don't we move into the one of 3 Toonami news that we've had in the past month. 2 shows ended on the exact same night. One was Shenmue the animation, and the other was Attack on Titan Final Season Part 2.5 Final Mix edition, Birth by Sleep version 0.777. Why don't we start with
Hyper
Shenmue
Alpha
first?
EX Turbo.
Yes. Why don't we start with Shenmue first? I enjoyed it more than Blade Runner, I'll say that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard when you're doing an adaptation because, you know, there's always going to be people that are like, well, what's the point? Because, you know, especially if you're already familiar with the source material. I mean, obviously, you know, anime does that plenty with manga, but, you know, when you're adapting a video game into a story like this, you know, it's, I don't know, something about it just feels different. And, you know, I guess the big thing is, I don't know that Shenmue, for all the talk of, you know, how it was going to be Adult Swim's take on the story, it never really felt like it branched far enough away to feel like its own thing. And, I mean, I guess with Shenmue 3 having been more recent, it kind of makes sense to have done this now, but I don't know, something about it just felt like it was missing.
Yeah, I mean, I never played the game, so I can't really make a good comparison. It was just like the last episode kind of felt like they were like, oh crap, this is the last episode, but there's still like so much of the first game that happens. We're gonna have to like speed run it, and all of a sudden like, oh, he has a rematch with Long D. Oh, he loses again. Oh, like he gained new intel though, and he's leaving to this village. I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking, oh, so the show's gonna end with him going to that village, and a hypothetical season 2 would have him like start out in the new village. But then no, it's like the second half of the episode kicks in. Oh, he meets the girl from the village. Oh, like they go to the cave. Oh, like they have like all these like endeavors, and it's just like we like he arrived in the village in our perspective like 5 minutes ago, and he went from like saving goats in a river to instantly like discovering the secret of what her father was working on. It's just like this felt like this needed a couple more episodes in my opinion. But like I don't know how business like that works. Like if they had to have it be 13 episodes or something, like I don't know.
I think they probably would have done better to have planned, you know, especially with, you know, for anybody who's played Shenmue 3, I still haven't finished it, but I know how it ends. You know, it basically still hasn't finished the story. And I kind of feel like, you know, with the animation basically covering the first 2 games and kind of setting it up for, you know, suggesting that there could be a sequel or, you know, go play the 3rd game or whatever, it feels like if they planned it as a 26 episode show and pushed more to, you know, maybe around like 18 or 19 episodes to recap the 3 games, and then use the last bit of that order to push the story forward. Because, I mean, who knows if and when they're going to make a 4th game after how long it took to even get the 3rd one. So,
and the reception to 3 too isn't hot.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's like, you know, unless they're going to make another 13 episode season where they spend half the time on recapping 3 and then finally go into the story for 4, because, you know, maybe in the end that ends up being what they want to do to finish the story off, and maybe that's why the first season didn't end up breaking as far away as we kind of expected it to, because who knows, maybe they're planning something to you know, further the story by going with an anime instead of a game. I don't know. I mean, it'd be an interesting way to go about it, and at least maybe they'd finally just finish the story off and be done with it. But, you know, after 20 plus years of waiting for the story to be finished, it's, you know, I think fans are pretty used to waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, anime fans are a bunch of patient folk, am I right? Anyway, I don't know, Phantom, Joshua, what do y'all have to say on Shenmue? You said you binged it, didn't you, Phantom?
Yeah, I mean, at first I was following the broadcast and then kind of fell off because of work. Then after the season finale, I just went through the entire show on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. After making a trip to my local arcade, which has a copy of Shenmue for $50, by the way. Maybe is it used? I don't know. But anyways, not the point. But yeah, I went through Shenmue. I enjoyed it for what it was. don't have any knowledge of the game per se. I've only seen my older brother play it once. That's really about it, honestly. But I like it. It's good. It's honestly better. Again, visually it looks better than Blade Runner, but can't please everybody, you know. Especially for some of us gamers and anime fans.
Joshua, have you seen the Shenmue series at all?
I tried to watch it, but couldn't really get into it. And I also never played any of the games either.
I mean, it's on PlayStation 4 also. At least the first two games?
I'm not sure whether they re-released the first two anywhere since.
Yes, they did. They like, to get people ready for 3. They did re-release like 1 and 2 like under collection for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Okay. Because I know the third game's only on Windows and PS4.
Yeah. So Shenmue ended, but also that same night, Attack on Titan final mix part 2.5 Birth by Sleep. Like trying to make these puns and Knuckles ended.
Don't forget featuring Dante from Devil May Cry, or with new funky mode.
Yes. I feel like we've said this the last 2-3 podcasts we've had, but stop calling it the final season if you're still going to make it like 4 years, if it's still going to take you 4 years to finish it, because we think that part 2 is going to end, is the ending. Then they say it's like 12 episodes. Steven's like, no way in hell it's 12 episodes. There's still plenty of chapters to adapt. And we were all just leaning towards, it's a movie. It's going to be a movie. They're going to finish it in a movie. It has to be a movie. They just make a part 3. Like, why? Like, it's just when they announced part 3, I was just like a little frustrated. Like, seriously? Like, come on, Like,
I think part of what's so frustrating about it is, there was obviously that huge gap between the first and second seasons, and now it's like you're in that final stretch and you just keep dragging it out. It's like, we've been through this once, but it was a wait between seasons entirely, and now it's just like, drag it out. And I understand, that the production schedules and everything are limited as to, how many episodes they can put out at a time now. But it does feel like, at a certain point, like you said, you've got to stop calling it the final season when, you're splitting it up into multiple parts. And, especially when, season 2 was 12 episodes, and that was considered a whole season. So what's so different here, other than it's basically just stopping mid-story? That's really the only reason that it's not being, separated into, just being season 4 and season 5 and whatnot.
Yeah, so when part 2 ended, I was watching the simulcast, and at that point, I was just like, I waited too damn long. Like, I'm not gonna wait another year. So I did end up actually reading the manga, because Steven said there was only 9 chapters left to adapt. I was like, 9 chapters left to adapt? Seriously? And so yeah, 9 chapters. I read it, so I know how it ends. I'm, not going to say anything, for spoiler's sake. I'm excited to see, those stuff in animation, because I will admit, the climax is Jesus Christ, hot damn, So I'm just saying that, for part 3 they better bring their A game. That's all I'm saying. You're gonna make us wait this long. You better deliver us a freaking spectacle in the end, because if not, we're gonna riot.
I just hope they actually, wrap it up this time. I was okay with the concept of a movie when we were coming out of season 2, or part 2 of the final season, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I was okay with the idea of a movie, just because, how many other anime have done that? So it's like, okay, fine, I could expect them to do it. At this point, with another potential wait of almost a year, no, just finish the show, be done with it. No movies, don't jerk everybody around, because you can see it with what happens with Adult Swim. They sit there and they bill it. They're like, the final season, the story comes to an end, and it's like, no, it actually doesn't. And of course, they don't know that. They're not getting any information in advance that turns out this isn't going to actually finish it up.
I don't know. There isn't anything I can say that hasn't already been said yet, because we talked Titan for the last 2 podcasts already. I will say, when I was first watching part 2, there was a small window of me thinking Eren can't be the villain of the show. Can't he? Is he the villain? Because he started a terrorist organization and all this, and part 2, I'm just okay, he has to have some reason for doing this, some ulterior motive. And then when it showed yeah, he's not actually going on board with euthanization plan, I'm like, there we go, that's the Eren I know. And then he starts the rumbling, and then starts committing genocide. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And yeah, the guy that we followed since the beginning is the one, is really the final boss of the show. I remember seeing an image someone posted on the internet. It was a screen cap of a season 1 with Eren standing next to the colossal titan, and they said, y'all remember when we thought this guy was the final boss of the show? And then someone replied with, well, the final boss is in the image, it's just not who you expected. And I was like, yeah, goddamn, that's right, that's correct. What about you, Phantom or Josh? Y'all got anything about Titan?
I got lost with it and then just stopped watching it because I had no idea what was going on anymore.
You know what? You're not the only one who says that.
What about Titan? I stopped caring about it seasons ago.
Anyway,
I can agree with the sentiment. The final season.
Yeah, next thing you know, it's going to be a part 4.
Final makes 0.5, final chapter, prologue, 0.9,
But I think that the two of you are a perfect example of why this split up, release plan is so damaging to the show, because, people can talk about, how much shows like Detective Conan and One Piece and stuff like that drag on because they can only adapt so much at a time, or they go into filler hell. You can crap on those, but at least they're keeping the shows on the air and keeping them in the public eye. And
True.
I feel like that's part of what hurts when they have to split this stuff up, is if you keep having to drag it out. And obviously, COVID has affected things in a way that nobody expected. But, going back to that massive gap between seasons 1 and 2 of Attack on Titan, it goes to show you how easy it is that you can lose your audience when you've got that big of a gap, the show comes back and it's like, okay, wait, I don't remember any of this, and and it's like, do I really care? Sure, a good show will be able to keep your audience's attention, but that only gets you so far. And I think that's that YouTube falling off from it is a perfect example of how much that dragging this out hurts it.
Yeah, I feel like they're just doing it just to keep the hype train going and to keep the merch sales piling on. I mean, that's business for you, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, it works. I mean, you can't deny that it's a workable strategy.
All right. Well, anyway, so when we realized Shenmue and Titan were ending on the same night, there had to be some announcement soon about what's gonna come after, because it's you got two shows ending on the same night, and one of them being a headliner. So we're just what's gonna replace, and especially what's gonna headline. And I had low expectations. I was just gonna assume there was only gonna be one new show, and either Titan or Shenmue were gonna rerun. And the new show, I was just thinking some small show, nothing recent, not a Spy Family, not a Jujutsu Kaisen, not a some heavy hitter. I was thinking it was going to be another Sentai show, because we had Made in Abyss, we had Lupin, so I'm thinking probably Food Wars Season 5, something like that. And my thoughts were summed up in that one image. My expectations for you were low, but holy fuck. We eventually did get the announcement of what was happening after Titan and Shenmue ended. And you get nothing. Good day, sir. You lose.
Good day, sir.
So what?
Breaking news! There is no news.
Exactly.
So after
Primal.
After Titan and Shenmue ends, the next week was Assassination Classroom would start the block. We would get 2 One Piece episodes and 2 Naruto Shippuden episodes. Cowboy Bebop was also ending that night. And then what was the week after? Attack on Titan and Shenmue had reruns that were going to be taking the last 2 spots. So what leads Toonami? Primal, Gendy Tartakovsky's latest foray. Now, you see, it's not bad. We never did speak of Primal when it came out, which I'm also using this space to actually give our thoughts on it. But Primal kind of seemed like an easy candidate for Toonami. But when they came out with it, it was an Adult Swim thing. Well, 5-night event or whatever, I remember, and apparently it's because, Gendy isn't a fan of, his shows being lumped in with Toonami. I know there's a better explanation for it, but,
he basically has the same mindset that a lot of the fan base does, and that's that Toonami is an anime block and not an action cartoon block. And so, he immediately jumped to I don't want my show on an anime block because my show's not an anime. It's well, yeah, that's fair, but it's not an anime block.
Right.
Apparently he was disappointed that Samurai Jack was on Toonami, when the final season came out and all that. So, yeah. But, apparently the numbers for Primal, I'm not a ratings expert. And, people want to point to ratings when, Toonami's dying and all that. But, the point is, Adult Swim ratings jump, when Toonami comes on. And so, having a show on Toonami, Primal kind of made sense to come on there. We had a marathon of Primal way back. which was just a glorified campaign for HBO Max when that came out. So like, I'm not mad that Primal's on. It's just that, like, I'm starting to wave red flags, you know.
It feels like schedule spackle is the problem.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I'm not raising the flag yet, but if nothing replaces Assassination Classroom, then I'm gonna be real worried. And we have 4 episodes left. Steven said that. So Assassination Classroom is gonna be coming to an end soon. But shifting gears, why don't we actually, talk about Primal, because we never did talk about it, like, when it came out. Like, we were in hiatus during that time, so I thought we could also use this time to just give our thoughts on the show. Like, y'all have seen it, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Joshua? Have you seen Primal?
Yes, I've seen the whole first season.
All right, yeah. Well, so trying to remember, like, came out and it was like interesting. Like, it's essentially a story about a boy and his dino. Actually, first episode was real depressing. It was like, see his family get murdered by dinosaurs, and he actually contemplated suicide. He didn't go through with it, and then he meets his trusted companion Dino Fang, who also lost her babies, and so a match was made. It's just like one of those things, like where you don't need dialogue. You don't need dialogue to, you know what I mean? Like, I know, like, some of Samurai Jack's strongest episodes were like the ones where there was barely any dialogue. So this was essentially an entire show with no dialogue, and I really enjoyed it. Like, and the gore levels too. Like, he was explaining that, like, when Samurai Jack came to Adult Swim, that he didn't want to go off the rails. It was a little more, like, a little more on edge than during his Cartoon Network days, but it's like he didn't want to go full throttle, go from the kids show to instantly people's heads are getting chopped off. But Primal, Jesus Christ, like, gore's everywhere. What do y'all think of Primal?
I like me some dinosaurs. As simple as that. They did change one of the episodes because of, COVID.
The funny thing about that is when Primal first came out, Sam 1 was live tweeting on the squad account, and then one day we just lost the squad account completely, and like that lasted for several months until Adult Swim got it back for us.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Primal for me is, because there's, the lack of dialogue and whatnot, it's an interesting study in being able to see just how much, the art and animation and music can carry a show when, because obviously, there's still a plot to it, but, it's different when you're taking away such a key factor of a show and still seeing what you can do with it. And I mean, clearly the number of awards the show won, I mean, it won an Emmy for, several of the production staff won. I think it won like Outstanding Animated Series or something like that from, it's won a whole bunch of awards, and for good reason, obviously. It's nice to see the recognition of, what you can do, because, like always, you see these things where people are still to this day treating animation like it's some kind of, lesser form of entertainment, or it's for kids or whatever. And, so it's nice to see something that, can really kind of try to break out of that. And, I'm looking forward to the fact that we're getting another, I know they said there's another season. I think it's another 10 episodes. Like the first season.
Yes, which leads me to say that a lot of people are assuming that this is also a lead into season 2 premiering on Toonami. That they believe that season 1's going to run on Toonami, and then once it finishes, that they're going to premiere season 2 on there.
I would like to raise a Dwayne The Rock Johnson eyebrow on that.
On what?
Season 2 coming to Toonami.
I can actually confirm that season 2 will not be premiering on Toonami. Now, rather they do a premiere on Adult Swim and then rerun that premiere on Toonami. I have no idea.
Well, see, that would make sense. I would do it. I mean, if I would personally do it that way, not premiere on Toonami, because I feel like that's an Adult Swim original first.
Well, I mean, Samurai Jack. Well, okay, is it an Adult Swim original? Now that I think about it. Well, we did have Genmusetsu, although that I feel like that was added to Toonami because that was during the height of COVID, and like they probably weren't getting anything else.
I mean, but arguably any of the Adult Swim original animes are still Adult Swim originals. I mean, just because they're on Toonami, they're still Adult Swim originals. So putting Primal on there, it really doesn't make much of a difference. It's just it's a meaningless distinction at the end of the day.
Yeah, like going back, I completely forgot to mention this during Shenmue, but like, yeah, we're most likely not getting a second season of Shenmue. Probably should have mentioned that because it was an Adult Swim Crunchyroll co-production, and Crunchyroll is Sony now. So fuck that.
You, Sony.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not opposed to Primal being on Toonami. I'm just more frustrated that this feels like last year all over again, to where like shows are ending and we're just getting nothing like replacing them. And Jason has said that he's still very optimistic. So like in what form that is, we have to wait and see. Like he has also said that the merger is affecting them to that extent. We don't know how exactly, but it kind of scares me. Like I already said in the last podcast that I'm going in with the most cynical take that they are just telling them to fuck off and we get nothing from them. But like I said, I'd love to be proven wrong so much, but that's how I see it. I mean, he already straight up said, yeah, Mob Psycho incoming, because Crunchyroll don't want to give it to us. So yeah. Anyway, so anyone else got anything to say on Primal?
Yeah, season 2 premieres on July 21st. It's actually a 2-episode premiere.
Where did you get that info? That's the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, same here. Are you getting it from Adult Swim?
Yes, I can say that.
Okay.
You'll definitely have to message us that later. Anyway,
I guess
moving
you
on.
heard it here first.
Moving on. So this is actually a pretty special year for two big properties. We are getting movies. The most important one is that we're getting a Dragon Ball Super movie.
Yay.
After so long of having nothing. Okay, that's not true. Well, there's a Dragon Ball Super manga, which I highly recommend y'all read. And video games and blah blah blah. But a movie, oh my god. This is old news. It was just recently announced though that it is getting a worldwide release under Crunchyroll. Ooh. God. Also it's been under, a lot of talk lately because it is a CG film. So oh boy. Looking at the footage, however, it's not bad. It looks good. That's the thing with a lot of CG anime. Look at Blade Runner, you know what I mean? It looks great. I'm just not expecting a big story out of this compared to Broly. Looking at the trailers and the footage, however, it looks like it's going to be a side story. Theory time, I feel like it's going to be more centered on Gohan and Piccolo, and then Goku and Vegeta are just going to be on the side training or something. That's how it's looking like to me. But I could be wrong. I am excited for it. You know, they're bringing back Broly. What kind of confuses me is so there is a Dragon Ball Super manga. It ran along. It's running alongside. Well, ran alongside. It ran alongside the anime. And at first, it was kind of telling the same story arcs as the anime, very differently though, which is why I recommend you all read it because they do differ. It starts with Battle of Gods. They skip the Resurrection Frieza stuff. Go straight into the Universe 6 stuff, and then like the difference. Like I highly recommend y'all read the manga version of the Goku Black story because Jesus Christ, that has so many unique circumstances that like a lot of people actually say the manga version of the Goku Black arc is better than the anime. It still kind of has that shitty ending of two Zenos just wiping everyone out. But like there's so much differences in there, like everyone says manga version of Goku Black superior. And then like apparently Tournament of Power happened too, but everyone's actually saying the manga version was terrible. Which is funny because like everyone's saying manga version of the Goku Black arc is superior. However, the Tournament of Power is terrible. But anyway, going back on topic, when Super ended, that raised a lot of questions about the manga. But in a bold move, the manga is continued. So we have two original story arcs in the manga that was told, and so many people, including me, thought if anime was to return, like would they animate the two original arcs that the manga had? So many people thought that, and then they announced a movie, and it's like, oh, is this movie telling the first original arc? And then we later got our answer, no. And then they even say it takes place years after Broly, and I'm just like, they say, oh, they haven't had a fight for Earth since. And I'm just like, what? Like the manga literally had two game-changing fights for Earth. I should add, like the manga, like, tell me y'all read the manga. Like seriously, like they went insane. Like stuff happens there that are actually plot progressive. So it's just that the fact that the movie, like the manga, I guess, is in its own continuity now, kind of baffles me. Anyway, I wasn't talking on for long enough. Y'all, how do y'all feel about the new movie?
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad that Toei didn't get, set back too far with it because, the movie was supposed to be out in Japan a month ago, and the malware and network intrusion hack that they got hit with that basically derailed all of their anime production. Their current Digimon show got delayed by like 6 weeks, I think it was.
One Piece got delayed too.
Yeah, I mean, like everything that was on the anime side seemed to have gotten delayed. The movie included, and so I'm glad it's because I think it comes out on the 11th of next
July
month.
11th.
No,
June 11th.
Yeah, it's
June.
June.
June
11th for Japan, and then hopefully we'll probably get it like July or August, because I don't think they're doing it simultaneously. I think we're getting a slight delay like we have with the past ones.
Yeah, they did say summer, so I'm assuming either July or August. They say summer, but like half the time they'll say summer and it'll be like August or September.
Right.
Like
my hope at this point is, if the movie's going to be done in Japan in June, I'm hoping that maybe there's a chance they'll show it either in Japanese or in English or both at Anime Expo. I'm kind of hoping, because that would be a huge draw. So we'll see what happens there, especially because if it's done enough to, if the dub's ready and they can screen that there, then a theatrical release, for wide availability won't be far off. So be kind of nice to see that happen, but we'll see.
Yep. Phantom or Joshua, how do you all feel about a new Dragon Ball movie?
I would like to go see it, but at this time I'm not financially stable, so I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to see it or not.
What about you, Phantom?
Dragon Ball Super.
Yes, the
Yes.
movie. How do you feel about it?
I might watch it. Looks good.
I mean, new Dragon Ball movie. I'm excited. Also, I'm excited that we actually did a time skip. Like Goten, like everyone freaked out because Goten and Trunks finally aged, and it's been like a long running joke that like time will pass and they will never age, and like the fact that they finally did, like, is mind blowing. Um, Also, like, Pan is existing now. Like, she always existed, but she was a baby. But like now she's getting older. I'm just like thinking, are we finally gonna get a useful version of Pan better than how she was in GT? It's like, because she needed a better character arc than what she got in GT. Please, for the love of God, actually give her a better character arc than what she was dealt with in GT. But yeah. But not only are we getting a Dragon Ball movie, we are also getting a One Piece movie. And we can talk about that now because One Piece is back on Toonami, and it won't feel like we're getting, stoned because
Yeah.
we mentioned One Piece and One Piece isn't on Toonami. Now, the One Piece movie, I'm extremely more excited for than the Dragon Ball film, especially since I've now seen the series. It's We don't have a lot to go on it. It's coming later than Dragon Ball. I think it's like fall Japan, so I'm assuming winter for us.
The biggest thing I look forward to with them is, aside from when they introduce new characters that have shown up way farther on in the anime. If you're watching on Toonami and you're following the dub, aside from that, the nice thing with the movies is they stand alone well enough, the old Dragon Ball Z movies were the same way. They stood on their own well enough that you could just watch them even if you weren't caught up. They very rarely threw in anything that was like super critical that you would have had to have seen from the show like currently.
Like some of the One Piece movies actually do expand on the lore. The modern films were actually penned by creator Eiichiro Oda. The movie Strong World is, I don't know if canon's the right word, but like some of the character, like example, the villain in that movie actually did exist in the show. Apparently, like the villain of that movie cameoed in a later episode, like when there was a flashback. So yeah, like that movie is kind of canon, but at the same time, it's not, important knowledge that you must see, or else you're gonna miss an important, plot device. And the way this movie's kind of being handled now, it looks like there's some serious. I don't know if it's canon, but they are like throwing around, stuff that seems extremely important. Like example, the new character that they're showing in the movie is supposedly, like, we don't know, but so far the trailer says is the daughter of red-haired Shanks, aka like Luffy's idol, I guess. Like, I don't know the right word, but the guy that gave Luffy's hat. So, and apparently she's doing something very bad, and it's like Shanks must not. If Shanks knows about this, what's he gonna do, and blah blah blah. So like, Jesus Christ, that seems very important. That what I mean, and like trailers and posters be coming out. Everyone's got like a punk rock aesthetic to them, which is awesome. Also, like, spoiler alert, but like also like who's Jinbei's a member of the crew now, so like he's in the movie, which I'm excited to see. Like I'm excited to see a Straw Hat adventure with him included into the mix now. I'm hoping Yamato gets included too later, but the different story. But yeah, like I'm more excited for the One Piece movie than I am with Dragon Ball, and that's saying something. Not to say Dragon Ball movie is bad, but One Piece movie got me more excited. I don't know, how do y'all feel about it?
Yeah, I mean,
Same.
like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I think I've enjoyed the last few, and even though I'm in no way caught up on the series, like I said, that's one of my favorite things about it is you can generally go into them and not be too worried about it. And the last couple of them have been really enjoyable, so I'm excited for it. Especially now that it's back on Toonami and it's getting more eyes. I mean, I remember the last one, which I was that Strong World was the last one we got. I don't remember.
No, Stampede.
Stampede, that's right. Yeah, I knew it was an S. With that, I mean, even though that came out when the show wasn't on Toonami anymore, I remember the turnout, at least at the theater I went to, was really well sold, and I'm hoping this one will do even better now that it's got more eyes on it again. Now that it's back on the block, so we'll see.
Especially with Toei doing like another giant One Piece push in America. Like when I went, because I saw Stampede in the theater, not a lot of people were there, but there were some people. I'm just hoping that this movie is at my local theater so that I don't have to drive like half an hour like I did for Stampede. That would be great. But also just the One Piece movies in general, like the creator actually writes the scripts. And they have like this, like they feel like they could be perfectly woven into the main story because they include with the exception of say Stampede and Gold, I highly recommend if they're on Netflix, FY, Strong World and Film Z. I highly, out of all the recent released One Piece films, story-wise, favorite goes to Film Z. Stampede is great, it's all like, but it's mainly the fan service movie to where like it has like a million callbacks to like past stuff because that movie was made for the 20th anniversary of the anime, so that movie is literally the fan service movie where like cue the Smash Ultimate theme, like everyone is here, and the animation goes stupid on that too. But like Film Z, better story, I have to say. So that kind of brings me. I don't know if this would be like the last topic because we already kind of discussed this, but the last topic I made was how do we feel about the current state of Toonami? I kind of gave my 2 cents. I'm a little scared, just because nothing replaced Attack on Titan or Shenmue. All we got was Primal, and we are literally like wondering what's gonna happen now because like the Funimation Crunchyroll thing is definitely affecting them, and we're already saying like what's gonna happen after Assassination Classroom ends. Like if nothing replaces Assassination Classroom, that's gonna be like a really that's gonna be a massive red flag in my opinion. I don't know how have you all been feeling?
I definitely feel it is not as stable as it was before. I feel like it's barely holding on. I mean, I know they got some new premieres, but they're not going to air for a while, and not sure where else they're going to be able to pull something from with everything going on between Crunchyroll, Funimation merger, all the other mergers going on.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think we're gonna, that I hope we see is, them licensing stuff directly from the Western arms of these distributors, and grabbing stuff directly. I mean, we saw it with One Piece. Jason said they got a deal straight from Toei on that. We know that like with Lupin, in the past they've been getting that directly from TMS. I'm pretty sure that's still the case for Part 6, even though Sentai has the license for that now, so they could have gotten it directly from them. But either way, we know they've gone directly to the distributors in the past. I think there's enough stuff coming down the road that if, even if they have to limp along a little bit, I think there's potential. And like I've said before, I think they need to stop worrying so much about, not grabbing older shows. And I mean, because, Assassination Classroom is not, not the newest show on the block.
Exactly.
It's obviously not old, but it's not new either. We all made fun of the oh, this was safely dubbed from from our own homes. It's like, no, it wasn't. You guys had the show done and produced long before COVID was even a thing. So
yeah, like
that goes to show
just
you
about
right
that.
there. Like that goes to show you right there. Just again, not saying the show's old, but it's older, and I think that if they were to reach out to like Sunrise, I mean, there's plenty of Gundam shows that have not aired on Adult Swim. And yeah, granted, they're older. I mean, Gundam Seed is 20 years old now. And I know Jason's not exactly a big fan of it. And yes, granted, that one did air on Toonami, but it has a new HD remaster. And even that HD remaster is 10 years old, but whatever. But it's got a new dub. Gundam Seed Destiny has never aired on American TV at all. Gundam 00 aired on Sci-Fi Channel, and they butchered the hell out of it. So if they went to Sunrise, they've got options there, and getting a Gundam show back on the block and getting some mecha going gives them a chance to coast it out for a little while. And there's a new Gundam show premiering this fall. Again, it's a situation of Sunrise. If you want to get eyes on this, get it dubbed. Work with Adult Swim and get it on Toonami. And and I think if they were to reach out to some of these distributors, I think it would help them get some stuff on the block. If they can do it that way. The biggest disappointment that I saw Jason mention recently, somebody had asked him about the potential of Adult Swim fronting the money to dub a show that might not have a dub, that maybe another studio has the rights to. And Jason's answer was basically, would love to do that, but we don't have the budget to pull that off. And I get it, dubbing is not cheap, but it's unfortunate because I know there are some shows out there that are not controlled by Funimation and Crunchyroll, that if they can if they could get the funding together and make a dub for them, they'd probably do really well on the block.
Like I've been feeling like whenever new animes come out, like every time a new anime comes out, I'm just like hoping and praying nowadays that like it doesn't fall to either Netflix or Crunchyroll, Funimation, or Amazon, because if it lands in one of those companies, then yeah, kiss the Toonami airing goodbye. Like Viz Media, like a Viz Media show lands on Toonami, but it's always like way after the show ends. Like they got Yashahime on there like a year after it premiered in Japan. So like, not knocking that, like Boruto also came like well after it premiered. So it's like example, one show that I'm kind of excited for, but I'm also very scared, is Chainsaw Man. I know that's been a big hot topic, and at this moment we still have no idea of like which distributor it's falling on. But like I'm literally just like, man, I really hope that it doesn't fall to Netflix or it doesn't fall to Crunchyroll, because this seems like it'd be a good fit for Toonami, and I feel like if it lands on one of those guys, screw an airing, that's not going to happen, stuff like that.
Well, and I think, another situation you run into with them snatching stuff up like that is, you mentioned Viz. Viz has the license to the first season of Tiger and Bunny, which, is another show that's like 10 years old. But, they have the license to the first season, and they might not have broadcast rights. That might be something that they never got. But regardless, great, okay, they've got the first season, but Netflix has the second season. So now it's like, well, where's the incentive to put to even attempt to get something like that, where it's like, okay, great, we can get the first season, but we have no chance of airing the second season. And that's one thing when you're grabbing a show that's brand new, but now down the road, it's like, well, why would you bother? And I mean, we've seen them run into the same thing with JoJo. I mean, Netflix snatched up part 6, and it's like, great, Toonami had been a pillar of getting JoJo in the public mind, once it finally started airing here, after all the trials and tribulations they went through to even get it over here. And now what? It's like, that's how they get repaid for for all their hard work of spending the money advertising it and licensing it for broadcast, and it ends up on on Netflix. It's like, that's great.
Yeah, Netflix's handling of it has been shitty. Even the most optimistic people that were trying to think very positively of Netflix, like at the end, we're like, okay, yeah, no, Netflix ruined it. Because with the whole binge model, and us having to wait another year just for the next batch of episodes, they literally put it out in December, and then they're saying fall this year, the next batch. Can you tell the show wasn't ready? Apparently it had edits made to it for its Japanese broadcast, and it's it's just, I hate these companies, man. It's
well,
just it's
and like you
so
said
hard.
with the binge model thing, it's funny because you look at the live action Cowboy Bebop, and for good or bad with that show, it gives you a good example of for me, the new Ghost in the Shell series, the CG one that Netflix has. Yeah, they dumped the first season all at once. I could have sat there and watched the whole thing. Instead, I watched them one episode at a time, week by week, and I paced myself, and I really enjoyed it. And I've been looking forward to the second season. The problem is, when you look at the Netflix Cowboy Bebop, they talk about how the viewership numbers tanked. Tank, get it? The viewership numbers, they went to crap within a week of the show coming out. And it's funny because I think back to something like Ghost in the Shell and go, what would have happened if I mean, granted, I'm one viewer, as a single viewer, my viewership numbers aren't going to matter that much. I'm not going to shift the scale over to renew it for another season versus cancel it. But how many people like me are sitting there going, I want to watch it one episode per week and not rush through this. And instead Netflix goes, oh well, people didn't watch it in the first week and the numbers sucked, so we're canceling it. And it turns out that people are just going, I don't want to binge watch this stuff anymore. Certain shows, they're that kind of binge watching helps the narrative, even if you watch it in 4 or 5 episodes at a time. And I've talked about this before, but there are shows that letting them linger and letting them dwell week by week helps out a lot with keeping your audience engaged. And I think that's part of Toonami's strength is, yeah, okay, I can go out and I can watch this stuff on a streaming service, or go buy the Blu-rays if they're if it's an older show. I can sit there and watch the whole show in a day or two, but pacing it and feeding it out little by little keeps your audience engaged, and it keeps people watching your channel. And I just have to wonder how, at what point will Netflix realize that the binge model, while it works for some shows, might be hurting them in others. I don't know.
And some of the anime they do get, few of the anime they do get, they actually keep the weekly thing. Komi doesn't communicate, or Komi does communicate, I forgot what the show is called. That's still a weekly thing. And that's a Netflix show. Another one, Blue Period. That's a Netflix exclusive anime, and they kept the weekly thing on it. So like, why do those shows keep the weekly thing, but you can't do the same for JoJo or something? You know what I mean? It's not even like this is still like a Toonami podcast. So like, it's just with like the recent news, like I've already mentioned it. But it's just like Jason's being very optimistic, and I hope that he's right. But it's just like with like all these company mergers, it's like kind of becoming clear that like all these shows, big shows that come out now, Toonami can't even get. Like he already said, don't expect much shonen on there or any current trends on there. Like he said, Mob Psycho incoming. Like it's I don't know, like stuff like that. Like which is why
there's a point where you can't be too optimistic about everything.
I don't know, like I said, I've been remaining very cynical on how this merger is affecting them, and I already said that I want to be proven wrong. But it's just like I'm being realistic. Like example, Spy Family is a big thing right now, and that would do well on Toonami. Can you imagine?
Sony owns Crunchyroll.
Can you imagine the Twitter timeline for Toonami exploding when Anya is on screen? Like, that would be the best thing ever. Cuteness overload. Spy Family's good. You all should watch it. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't. Logan already gave his thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think. Well, and I think the problem is what's frustrating, as viewers is, obviously we're not privy to all the inside details on what's going on with it, but it's like, you want to hope that Jason's optimism is because obviously, he's in the know and he knows more than we do on this, so you want to hope that that's part of it. But, of course, like you said, there's always going to be that cynical side of, well, you can sound as optimistic as you want, but, if the writing's on the wall, the writing's on the wall, and, again, the best thing we can hope for is that, they're just going to look at, shifting their focus and, trying something, trying to grab stuff that's, less desirable from a, Crunchyroll wants to rule the world perspective, I guess is the best way to put it. And, who knows? I mean, Toonami's strength has always been in, the fact that they're a curated experience and they're not just grabbing any old show and just crapping it out to get stuff on their block. And, so hopefully, they've got something planned. I mean, we'll just have to see.
What I kind of wish to see is maybe if there's like, I don't know like how possible this is. I'm not an industry expert, but like, say if a new anime's coming out, if Adult Swim could actually, get the rights for it. Like example, I'm excited for Chainsaw Man. Like, wouldn't it be cool if say Adult Swim could get like the licensing rights from Japan? Like they become, they become the distributor of it here. Like it ends up becoming like an Adult Swim property.
There are two aspects to that. One is that you're absolutely right. There's nothing that would stop them from doing that because at the end of the day, especially on big shows, it becomes a bidding process. I mean, and while some studios may just decide that they only want to work with one particular distributor, and so they'll kind of pretend to accept bids, and they really don't. And that does happen more often than I'd like it to, but it does. But there's realistically there's nothing that would stop Adult Swim from doing that. So there's that factor. I guess the other aspect would be if these studios decide to start withholding not the home video rights, but the broadcast rights from Crunchyroll when they're licensing them, because they could easily go, well, look, you guys don't put anything on TV. We're not restricting your streaming or your home video rights, but we're not going to give you the rights to broadcast because we're going to shop those around ourselves. And there's nothing that would stop them from doing that because, as we've seen with the Lupin shows that we at Discotech have gotten, we didn't have broadcast rights; those were directly through TMS to Adult Swim, and we had the home video rights later. Now that was more of because, you know, as a company, Discotech's not usually looking to deal with broadcast, so it's a little bit different. But again, you know, the only difference there is we didn't want the home or the broadcast license. Instead, it would be a case of the studios holding back the broadcast license and letting Adult Swim go for it directly. And, you know, and that may be something that we see happen, you know, because again, we saw it with One Piece. Toei wanted it on TV. They came up with a deal for Adult Swim, and it got on TV. So if these distributors and these studios want this stuff on TV, they can make the license terms work to their advantage. So, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I'm just like hoping that, you know, like we could still like see some of these modern shows end up on Adult Swim. Like I bring Spy Family up, but like I'm trying to think what else. I don't like that's the only current show that I've been seeing. I don't want to mention Jujutsu Kaisen for the millionth time again. But I don't know, like you mentioned that Gundam show. I know the new Bleach is coming out, which I swear to God, if that does not end up on Adult Swim, heads are gonna roll. Like, the Bleach is a Viz Media thing. Like, would Viz Media immediately get that new season, or would it be another bidding war? Like, I don't know how that would work.
I mean, I don't think are they owned by another major company?
And I could have sworn Bleach is under Viz Media.
The original seasons are. The biggest problem with something like that is it's going to be considered a wholly new production. It's not, it's not like an ongoing kind of thing, whereas like Attack on Titan is probably something that's a little more in kind of a gray area, especially with the way the whole final season stuff like we were talking about, but like it's easier to say, obviously that it's still all one show when you have something like One Piece that, is just, it's still just One Piece. Something like Naruto Shippuden might also be kind of a weird gray area because, it's not really, it wasn't really a change in the show. I mean, it got a new name, but it was really just kind of still the same show as the original, first part that was just Naruto. Whereas Boruto was, a completely separate new production. And so, it would have been licensed separately. So presumably because of the time and everything in between Bleach, my guess is that, it's not a shoo-in for going to them. But again, the Japanese side is probably going to be more interested in working with Viz for the sake of continuity with, what's already out there, because they know it sells. They know, the fans are going to have expectations. There's not a whole lot of reason to try and shake that up, other than, which again goes back to the Netflix thing, we've seen, like with Tiger and Bunny, with the exception of a couple of people that didn't come back because they moved on from anime voice acting, basically the entire dub cast came back. So you watch the show, and while it's a Netflix show now, nothing really feels any different from the first season that was under Viz. So I mean, the industry itself has gone so topsy-turvy right now that while there are things you usually say like, yes, this is what they probably want to do, honestly, in a lot of cases, all bets are off because, who knows? And, money talks is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and Netflix always likes to drop like a crap ton of money just for exclusivity for 25 years. Like a lot of people are saying with like the recent like crash that they've been having, that hopefully like they start selling off. And I'm just like wishful thinking. That's probably not going to happen unless, I don't know, by some miracle. But yeah.
I would tend to agree with those people though, because it's easy to go, we want a 25-year contract on this, and then say in 5 years they go, well, we're not seeing a return on it. There's probably an escape clause from that, but at the same time they want to be able to lock something in because who knows, they get the next Cowboy Bebop or something that's a seminal classic like that. they want to be able to, have that locked in. They want that Dragon Ball Z, we've got the license, forever kind of thing, and so again, it's really hard to say exactly what we'll see happen with this stuff.
Yeah, I think we've spoken long enough on this.
Yeah.
But that's basically how I've been feeling, how a lot of us been feeling on how Toonami's been lately. All I'm saying is that if there's nothing new replacing Assassination Classroom, I'm gonna be very afraid. Please, for love of God, tell me there's something after Assassination Classroom. That's all I care about.
Not to mention, I don't know if this has to do with anything, but Warner Brothers is currently undergoing some major cuts throughout Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yep.
So we don't know if programming on Adult Swim, like Toonami, for example, will be affected by the merger.
Yeah.
I mean, they already cut a bunch of CW shows.
Yep.
I'm gonna guess by that very loud yup that you watched some of those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess you're an Arrowverse fan.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those shows, so I have no
I need
idea.
to watch some of those. I heard The Flash was good.
I heard The Flash was good, but that it went downhill.
Well, this season's been pretty good.
So, I mean...
At least their Flash doesn't beat people up in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, for cryptocurrency?
Oh,
NFTs, more like no fucking thanks.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just closely monitoring the whole Warner Discovery thing right now. And if it affects Adult Swim, then who knows what will happen to Toonami. I mean, then again, nothing could happen. Maybe we're just looking into it too hard. But beyond that, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I didn't mean to. I don't want to leave it on a sour note or anything, but that was something worth mentioning.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps things up. So, you can follow me on Twitter at Samster299, my YouTube channel, Samster299, where I just make a bunch of fan-made Toonami promos and bumpers. What about y'all?
You can follow me on Twitter at JMB_70056.
You can follow me on Twitter at Schmollis1.
All right, and for our other stuff, you can check us out on our social medias at Toonami Squad, TS Gaming Zone, Facebook, Toonami Squad Official, Instagram, Toonami Squad, YouTube, Toonami Squad, and Toonami Squad Gaming Zone. I'm also the host of the Toonami Squad Gaming Zone podcast. Check it out there on our YouTube channel and our various streaming platforms. If you want some expired merch, buy it at redbubble.com.
Actually, somebody did just buy something like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, keep buying over at redbubble.com/people/ToonamiSquad/shop.
We need to update the logo though.
Yeah, that's true. And then, of course, if you want to check out our streams, other than Bodies of Water, you can check out twitch.tv/Toonami Squad Gaming Zone. We play a lot of JRPGs, but I'm kind of mixing it up with Bayonetta and hopefully Kirby or 64 when that comes out. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Fanstar64. But you can mostly follow TS Gaming Zone if you like. Shameless plug. Totally not biased.
Well, all right. So I think that about concludes another episode. Hopefully, by our next episode, we have a lot more to talk about. I had to come up with some of the topics because I was just pulling things out of my butt because there wasn't that much news. But, yep. Anyway, this has been another successful episode of Toonami Squad Podcast. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night.
Stay
Have a good night.
golden.
See ya.
Bye.
Later.